Hello, Klaus here. In today's video, we'll talk about the URSA Mini 4.6K Pro. So let's get right to it. At Duke Denver Film, we've been using the URSA Mini 4.6K Pro for about 4 months. So before I start telling you about what I think of the camera and how it is to work with, I want to show you some footage from an event we did back when we just got the camera. So let's have a quick look at that right now. Okay, so let's have a look at the buttons and the general function of the URSA Mini 4.6K. So on this particular URSA Mini, I have a small cheese plate here. It's very good when you're doing interviews because you can mount your micro port right here, so it can be, the receiver can be here. That's very, very handy and very useful. So let's just have a quick look at the buttons at the URSA Mini. Here at the side we have, let's start here. We have the controls. Here we have a, you can change your ISO settings with this switch, and the shutter and the white balance. Also you have here, I think this is when you have the EVF, you can use this for the monitor. Also you can, these two settings are for if you're using the EVF, which I do not have. So I'll not talk about that. Then you can also lock the settings right here. And then you have this, you can change the iris, the monitor or the headphone levels by driving on this wheel. I don't use that very much. So and here at the front LED here, we have the panels. Here you can take a still, you can hold, you can reset, and you have time code, and you can use the brightness of the screen here as well. And here we have again the iris, the focus controls, and the pause and play, and the audio channels for the levels are right down here in these knobs. I have pretty big fingers, so they're pretty hard for me to turn around, but that's okay because inside of the URSA Mini 4.6K, you can actually do the same thing on the touchscreen, turning them up and down. Actually, all functions are available in the touchscreen as well. If you look inside of the URSA Mini, we have here the controls for the microphone input in the top. You can do XLR1 and XLR2 and what kind of lines you are using. And then again, you have the focus, the peaking, the menu system is also right here. And let's see, we have a rec and normal settings. And of course, if you look out here, again, back to the opening, we have the F1, F2 and a high frame rate button and a record button as well. And that's basically what you have with buttons. Of course, you also have an out white balance button right here. And then again, out in the top, we have the ND filter, which you can turn just like that. So let's have a look here at how it works, the menu system. If you push the menu button, you will go into the menu. And in the menu, you'll have in the top, you'll have your record options, your monitor options, your audio options, your setup, your preset, and your LUTs. So let's start with the record. In the record, we're in the top. You can choose your codec and quality. So there's various. You have. I usually shoot in ProRes, so that's what I usually use. Or you can shoot in RAW. So in the ProRes you will see there is a proxy, an LT, a 422, a high quality, a 444 and an XQ, very high codecs. You can shoot in a lot of different formats. For instance, you can shoot in HD, in 2K, in 3K, in UHD, in 4K, and in 4.6K on this sensor. Another thing which is also very cool is you can shoot all formats in RAW, but you can shoot them in a 4:3, a 3:1, or a lossless. Again, so if you go to the arrow, you'll go to the second page of your recording. Here you can change your the mode you're filming in and frame rates and an option for your cards. If you go to the third page, you can do all this with the time-lapse effects, and you can do sharpening in the image, which I will recommend you to turn off. And then also you can do this stop recording. If there's a frame drop, it will just stop recording. I think that is a nice feature. Let's go to the monitor settings. In the monitor settings, there is so many settings actually. You can control the LCD, and you can then decide if you want to have a clear feed, or if you want to have display LUT on and off, zebra, focus assist, frame guides, save areas, and false colors. And there is so many inputs in the URSA that you can control the front SDI and the main SDI, and you can also control everything at the same time and change so many. It's filled with settings really. So again, let's go to the second page of the menu. You can do something for the LCD, the front SDI, and the main SDI, or you can do the corrections to all your inputs. So this is like meters, and you can kind of decide what they are showing. So, and also you can control the screen brightness. So in the audio tab, we can now, if you go to the top, you can now decide which audio output or setup you will be using. You can see I'll just scroll through them very fast, and then you can, of course, let's go to this one. So you can then control your level input just by using the touch screen for the right and for the left channel. And again, you can go to the second screen of that, and here you have your headphone levels, your speaker volume. So let's go to the setup. And here, this is where you can do date, language, and also how you want to measure the shutter, if you want to use shutter angle or shutter speed, but I always use shutter angle. Also, you can change the kilohertz here, depending on if you are shooting in the United States or if you're shooting in the PAL region. Also, you have something here with the battery display, which can be displayed in different ways. And let's go to the next page as well. In the next page, you can put color bars, you can program audio on and off, you can hit mic. It is a lot of monitoring here, and it's really quite unique setup. And if you go to the next tab, we have the function buttons, which you have the F1 and F2 buttons, and you can then assign those to whatever you want to assign them to. For instance, my F1 is assigned to use false color, and the F2 I have done so it will display my LUT. And then you can also toggle on and off functions, and there is really a lot of options in the URSA Mini 4.6K for customizing your camera setup. So let's go to the next screen, and on the next screen it's you have the status LED, and that's the one which will be blinking in the side if that's on. You can also just toggle that off. And then again, you can control the status LED's brightness from low, medium to high. I have mine on medium. And then you can of course reset your settings, and here is a very good thing. You have to calibrate your sensor once in a while, and you can do that by pressing the calibrate sensor, and then you just push calibrate and wait for about 10 seconds, and your camera is good to go and your sensor is calibrated. Okay, and then down here you have some hardware ID and some software, and then how you want to play back all your clips. And in the last one, well, this is where you would use your Bluetooth and set it up to the Blackmagic app so you can control your camera. Unfortunately, as of today, this function does only work on Apple devices. So, and I am a Android kind of guy, so I can't use that function yet. Hopefully somebody or hopefully Blackmagic will fix that in the future. Okay, and if you go to the next one, you have the presets. Here you can do some presets. I have done none yet. And on the last tab, you will have your LUTs selection. This is where you can import your own LUTs into the URSA Mini 4.6K. Let's just talk about the build quality of the URSA Mini 4.6K. It's very well built. It doesn't feel plasticky at all because it isn't plasticky. It really feels like it can handle a lot of work. I think you can, if you drop this in somebody's head, they might even die. So it is very solid build. It is also a very heavy camera. It might not be very heavy as it is right now, because now it's just the camera and the battery plate, which is a bit plasticky, but that is an add-on from Blackmagic. And then I have this as well, but it's not very heavy. But when you put on a V-Lock battery, it starts to be heavy. And then, of course, when you have your lens and other attachments on, this will be a pretty heavy camera. So I don't think you cannot run around like doing crazy handheld all day with this camera. I don't think so. I think you would be happy if you had a tripod. I know I was when I did a lot of footage for long days. I was happy that I could put this on a tripod sometimes and do some handheld at the same time. One of the great things is that the URSA Mini can shoot in a variety of formats. It can shoot in 4.6K and it can shoot in HD. One thing to keep in mind though, if you're shooting HD and 2K and also I believe in the 3K option, it will not be the full sensor. It will crop in the sensor a bit, and that's unfortunately a shame, but that's unfortunately how the camera works. So I've been shooting a lot of videos and I've been using the Blackmagic cameras for a while. And one of the things I love about the URSA, which none of the other cameras had, is the built-in ND filter. And one of the reasons for that is, for instance, if we shoot a lot on cinema lenses and on the Rokinon ones, and if I want to do like a wide shot, my widest lens is actually this 14mm lens from Rokinon. There's just one problem. I couldn't put on an ND filter on this one. There's no thread for it, and so then I would have to have like a matte box or something in front of the cameras, and they just become so heavy. But on the URSA Mini, you have the built-in NDs, and what is very cool about that is I can use my 14mm lens right on the camera. So here I'll just show you some quick test shots I did the first day I was out shooting with the URSA. Here you see me running around doing some handheld shots with the URSA Mini 4.6K with the 14mm lens attached. And then also you can see here I am just messing around with I'm testing out the different settings for the ND filter here. This is one of my favorite features on the URSA Mini 4.6K. One thing to be aware of is that when you are turning the dial here, make sure that it clicks, because I did this on some of the test shots and I didn't hear I thought I actually turned it, but I didn't. So the ND filter was covering up part of the image, which sucks big time. So just be aware that you hear the click. I also think it was because I was not used to using ND filter like this, so I thought I did it right, but I didn't. Just keep that in mind. Remember to turn it until you hear the click. So let's talk about recording formats. The URSA Mini 4.6K records on these I have these Extreme Pro CFast 2.0 cards. They're very good and very fast, but also very expensive. So you also have the ability to record on SD cards on the new high-speed cards, which are also quite expensive. So, and this is not on the Blackmagic webpage. I have here an Extreme Pro card, which I think you shouldn't be able to record 4K on this card, but let's figure out what kind of formats we can put into this Extreme Pro card, which is a 95 megabits per second card. It's the card you're using for the pocket camera. So it should at least be able to shoot HD in RAW. So let's figure out what kind of formats this one can shoot. Let's test it out.
I don't really know if I'm in focus. I can't really autofocus on this GH4 right now. But anyways, we're out here testing if the SD cards will work just fine with the URSA Mini 4.6K. And you see we have the URSA right here. So let's start out testing out the SD card for that. So first setting we are having here would be to start out recording in HD 422 ProRes. So let's just try to do that and see if something happens. So I'll just shoot like 10 seconds of each clip and we'll see what's going on. So nothing much is happening, as you see. Here, out of focus. So that's around 10 seconds of that. Let's stop doing that and let's try to shift settings. So let's go to HQ and record 10 seconds of HQ, 422 HQ on an SD card. No frame dropping at all. I didn't count on that either. Okay, good enough for jazz. So let's take another one. Let's go to the menu here and let's go to 444 in HD. Let's record 444 and see if there is any frame drops. I don't think there is. Nope, just fine and dandy actually. No problem at all. Let's go further. Let's go to HQ, HD ProRes HQ. 10 seconds of that. Let's see what's happening. Okay, so let's change up the settings. Let's go to, I think if it can do HD, it can do 2K as well. So let's go to the, and because I do believe it will do, let's try the actually HD RAW settings. Let's try that. Okay, let's see if we can shoot some HD RAW. Here we are. And now the sensor will be cropped in just a bit. So let's go. 10 seconds of RAW. Recording. Doesn't drop a frame. Okay, so if it can do HD in RAW, it should do 2K in RAW theoretically. So let's just jump and see if we can work with UHD. So let's start out with UHD ProRes. And I think we can start again from the 422. So let's go 10 seconds of UHD 422. That seemed to work pretty easily actually. So let's go to HQ. (422) in UHD on an SD card. No problem. So here we go, UHD RAW, not even compressed. It does a sign now, so it might not work anymore now. Okay, so it did max out on UHD in RAW, but okay, it's an SD card, so It's kind of understandable, and a very small one as well. And it isn't one of the fast ones, so do remember that as well. Anyway, let's see if we can shoot something in 4.6K, and let's test it out. Okay, so now we're trying out 4.6K in ProRes 422, and it seems to be working just fine actually. So okay, let's try another one. ProRes HQ. Okay, so let's stop that for a second. So the conclusion of this test is it will do HD all the way up to RAW. It will do 2K all the way up to RAW, but when you go to UHD, you can do RAW in 3:1, and then of course at 4.6K you can't really do RAW, but all the ProRes flavors will work up to 444. So, or actually up to HQ, not 444, because it maxed out at that. So that's just the conclusion of this test. Okay, let's go back to the studio.
Okay, let's talk about audio options for a minute. So in the URSA Mini 4.6K, you have two XLR inputs in the top of the camera, which are surprisingly good actually. So let's just do a quick sound test of how that sounds with different microphones. Let's do that right now. Well, this is how it sounds from a lavalier mic from Sennheiser, which is plugged directly into the XLR in the URSA Mini 4.6K. And it's recording at level 50 and no added filters on. So this is just how it sounds, the basic sound of it. So hopefully it'll sound good.
And here is a sound test with the NTG2 from Rode, just hanging on a microphone stand with the arm just right out of the frame here. So this is just how it sounds like on that. And now it's on the exact same microphone, but this time on top of the camera, and the camera is about two feet away, I do believe. So again, I hope it sounds usable, and I don't really know. So we'll figure out very soon. So let's test out another microphone. Okay, and now we are testing out the SGM from Aston. It's also a shotgun microphone like the Rode is. So I hope this sounds very well. Again, it's on a mic stand attached to a boom arm, and it's right out of frame right here. So I hope it sounds pretty good. So now we have attached the Aston SGM on to the camera, and this is how it sounds. Keep in mind that there is no added filter on, and all the recording level is on 50 for each channel. So hopefully this sounds very good. Or maybe not. We'll find out in post, won't we?
Let's talk slow motion. So in the previous versions of the Blackmagic cameras, you were only able to shoot in 24 frames and in 30 frames. And then of course they had the micro cameras which could shoot in 60. But on the URSA Mini 4.6K and also in the other URSAs, by the way, you can shoot 4K or 4.6K in 60 frames a second, which will make it look pretty good in slow motion. And then of course you can do 120 frames in HD, which is very nice. Here at the end, I just want to share my thoughts on the Blackmagic URSA Mini 4.6K. I absolutely love this camera. Of course, that is a bit unfair because I have used Blackmagic for a long time, but I've always loved the image from the Blackmagic cameras, and with the URSA Mini, it's no exception. It is way better than in low light than the previous cameras. It is the functions of the URSA Mini 4.6K is very good. The layout, the button layout is very good. One thing that's a little bad thing maybe is that the buttons are very small, but my finger's also very big, so maybe that is why. And also there's like slightly problem when you have the flip out screen out and you want to use the wheel here. You can't really use it, but you can use the touch screen instead, and I just do that. And then, of course, I also hear a lot of people complaining about that the flip out screen can only be rotated like 90 degrees. For me, that is okay. I am not using this camera to do YouTube videos, or I'm not a vlogger, so I think it would be pretty hard to vlog with the URSA Mini. By the way, it would be way too heavy. So it's not a vlogging camera. If you're used to do vlogging videos, this camera is not for you. If you are doing corporate videos, films, narrative works, documentaries, this camera is definitely for you. Thank you for watching the video. Please write down in the comments below what your favorite camera is, so we can have a discussion about that. And if you really like this video, or you found it helpful, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and share it with your friends if you think they'll find it helpful. Until next time, keep filming, keep learning, and keep sharing. Bye.